What's up guys, my name's Brandon and the Apple Watch Series 5 was just released a few weeks ago and I've been using it every day since launch. So I wanted to make a video comparing the Apple Watch Series 5 to 2018's Apple Watch Series 4 and whether or not I think you should consider upgrading. So let's just get to the elephant in the room right away. The main difference between these two watches is the always on display. So instead of needing to bring your wrist up to look at the clock, it's just always on and it doesn't need to be motion or touch activated. You can always see the time no matter what. And this is possible thanks to a new screen component that automatically adjusts the refresh rate on the Series 5. It can go all the way down to 1 hertz or 1 screen refresh per second. And that's what allows this Series 5 watch to stay alive for so long in terms of battery life, even when the screen is always on. And what's nice about the Series 5 is that you have the option here for always on. So you can turn this off if you want to. I can't imagine why you would want to turn that off. But you can read there, it also says your Apple Watch can always show the time. You can also choose if your complications show sensitive data. And then if you tap on that, you can see there you have the option for hide sensitive complications if you want to. And it kind of gives you a description of what is actually hidden in there. Of course, these are features that you could not find in the Series 4 here. You didn't even have that toggle inside of your settings. So if you take a look at the watch face here, you'll notice that it dims down when it goes into the always on mode. So you can see there, the second hand stops showing up. And of course you can hide other things here if you want to as well when it's in the always on mode. And if you raise your wrist up or touch it, you can see it gets back to normal. It lights up your regular brightness and things like that. And again, we do have that adaptive refresh rate, which prevents the battery from draining. And Apple did also optimize all of their watch faces to support this always on display to make sure that you get as good a battery life as possible. And we're going to discuss the battery life on the Series 5 compared to the Series 4 here in a second. Now the Apple Watch Series 5 uses the exact same display as the Series 4 here. So you're gonna have the exact same pixel density, same brightness, same everything when it comes to the display. It also uses the exact same CPU and GPU as last year's Series 4. So in terms of performance, you won't be seeing any kind of gains in applications or anything like that with the Series 5 watch right here. However, the Apple Watch Series 5 does have a new integrated magnetometer, aka a digital compass. And this is what allows maps and the new compass application with the Series 5 to show which direction you're actually walking in and all kind of things like that. So this is going to be extremely useful for hikers or just outdoorsy people in general who find themselves needing to know what direction they're walking in regularly. Now, of course, this has been a feature on iPhones forever, but this is the first time it's ever been included in an Apple Watch. So it's pretty nice to have that additional feature here with the Series 5 if it's something you think you'll use. And speaking of being outdoors and potentially being in trouble, the Series 5 now offers international emergency calling via the Great Emergency SOS feature in over 150 countries. And the great thing about this is that it works with or without the LTE model. So even if you have the just Wi-Fi only Apple Watch, it works still. So simply invoke the feature and you will call emergency services directly from the Apple Watch. Even if your iPhone isn't anywhere near you, it will work straight from the watch, which is really cool. The Series 5 here also has 32 gigabytes of internal storage compared to just 16 on the Series 4. And though doubling the size of the storage is definitely a nice upgrade, unless you install a lot of applications, this won't really be a huge deal for you. And most people, myself included, I didn't even realize it at first. Now in terms of build materials, there is also a new option for Series 5 this year, and that is titanium. So it's the first time ever that Apple has included a titanium Apple Watch. You do also have the ceramic option as well, which we saw back on the Series 3. The screen is still built the same though, so you won't be seeing any kind of tougher glass or anything like that. But looking around the watches themselves at like the dial, the home button, the cutouts for the microphones and everything on the Series 5 is exactly the same as the Series 4. I got the 44mm here in both the Series 4 and the Series 5, and you literally cannot tell the difference between the two if they were just laying on the table. It'd be very, very hard to tell the difference. Now, in terms of daily real-life usage, I do have to admit that the Apple Watch Series 5 was extremely disappointing at first, and I held off on making a video just because it was so new. But the big reason I didn't like it is because my battery life was terrible. It was much worse than my Apple Watch Series 4 from the previous year, which I'd been using for over a year. You would think that a brand new Apple Watch Series 5 would get better battery life, but that was definitely not the case. Now, when I noticed the battery drain here on my Series 5, obviously the first thing I looked to was the always on display. I figured that that would be draining my battery. It makes sense. The screen's always on. I know Apple said that you would get the same battery life, but I wasn't buying it at the time. So I turned that off and I noticed that the battery kind of got a little bit better. It was still, a minor culprit in terms of draining battery, but overall my battery was still bad, even with the always on display turned off on the Series 5. However, when watchOS 6.1 was released, I instantly installed it just in hopes of fixing that bad battery drain, and sure enough, after just 1 day of usage, I noticed a major increase in battery life here on my Series 5. I went from getting around 10 hours of battery life a day to at least 17, sometimes 18 hours of battery life on the Series 5. That's about what I got for my Series 4, actually a little bit longer than my Series 4 on some nights. And that's why I wanted to wait a while before I just wrote off the Apple Watch Series 5. It seemed that Apple just had to kind of optimize watchOS to get ready for that always on display technology. Now, in terms of real world usage with the always on display, I do like it and I do use it a lot. I found myself a couple times being able to look at the time on my wrist while mid conversation with somebody without like coming across rude, like I'm trying to, leave the conversation. I was able to glance down at my watch without making it very obvious. So that's nice. You can do that in meetings and things like that as well. And there are many other use cases as well, like when you're, cooking or when you're riding a bike, playing sports, whatever, you'll be able to do it. You'll just be able to look down and see the time. I don't think anybody's questioning whether or not it's actually a useful feature. It definitely is, but the big question is it a $200 feature? Like, will you be willing to pay $200 to get this feature? And honestly, if I had a Series 4, I would not be updating to the Series 5 just for that always on display. It's cool, it's nice, I loved it at first, but now it's kind of like, I don't know if it's really worth spending $200 for. Like if I was just an average consumer, I would not spend the $200 extra just to get that always on display. It's just not worth it in my opinion. And if you have a Series 3, I would recommend going with the Series 4 over the Series 5 to save yourself a couple $100. But honestly, even the Series 3 is still a very great Apple Watch. Of course, you don't get the ECG features and things like that. So if you really want that, I would go for the Series 4, but the Series 3 is still a great watch. And if you don't have an Apple Watch at all, I would definitely consider looking at the Series 3 as well. We'll have a video coming on that later on in a couple weeks. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my comparison between the Apple Watch Series 5 and the Apple Watch Series 4. Of course, the Apple Watch Series 5 is hands down the best smartwatch on the market right now, but I personally don't think it's $200 better than the Series 4 from just last year. But of course, at the end of the day, it does come down to personal preference. It depends on how much you value that always on display, if you need more storage and things like that. So it's up to you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I always like seeing your guys' opinions on these things as well. So definitely leave me a comment down there below and I will definitely try to get back to you down there. And if you guys enjoyed this comparison review, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up and of course subscribe for a lot more Apple Watch, iPhone, iOS videos in the future. So anyways guys, thanks again for watching and I'll see you soon.